Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Roll call and declaration of quorum.
Dr. Matusik.
Here.
Mr. Lau.
Present.
Mr. Choate.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Present. I'd like to welcome all visitors. Thank you for being here this evening.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Garrison. Agenda item 2.1, Oath of Office for David Tillman. You have the oath of office?
He's got it.
He's got a copy. Okay. All right.
Is that fast? I can read it?
Yeah. Very good.
You don't have it memorized?
No.
That was the thing.
I promise they did teach me how to read. Just go ahead. All right. I, David Tillman, hereby declare under oath that I will faithfully perform the duties of board member of Hennessey Public Schools to the best of my ability, and I will faithfully discharge all the duties pertaining to said office and obey the Constitution and laws of the United States and Oklahoma.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We've already passed all of the classes.
Okay. Agenda item 2.2, proposed executive session. You want me out?
Not that we don't appreciate everything you've done, but you need to make
Very good. I'll go sit right over there. I tried.
Thank you
I
for
tried to
your
get you guys
service.
in executive session.
Or do you think we should?
whatever you guys want to do.
I think Item 2.2, proposed executive session to discuss the appointment of an individual and/or interview candidates to be appointed to the school board seat number 2, 25 State Statute 307B1 and 70 Oklahoma Statute 5118. I'll make a motion to accept.
Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Mr. Choate.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Mr. Tillman.
Yes.
Okay, we're entering back into open session. At 7:02, motion was made to enter executive session to discuss the appointment of an individual and/or interview candidates to be appointed to the school board seat number 2 per state statute. Members present were myself, Luke Lau, Christopher Choate, Patrick Griffin, David Tillman. Our guests were Jason Sternberger and Mike Woods. No votes were taken, and we returned to open session at 7:24. Number 2.3, discussion of possible board action to appoint an individual to Hennessey Public School Board seat number 2 for the remainder of the term. I would move that we appoint Dr. James Matusik to fill that term for the remaining year left on Joe's old seat.
Second.
Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Mr. Choate.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Mr. Tillman.
No.
3.1, reorganization of the board.
We would need to go ahead and seat.
Need to seat
Matusik.
Dr. Matusik.
You would need to read the oath of office.
Dr. Matusik, could you?
I, James Matusik, hereby declare under oath that I will faithfully perform the duties of board member of Hennessey Public Schools to the best of my ability, and that I will faithfully discharge all the duties pertaining to said office and obey the Constitution and laws of the United States and Oklahoma. Thank you.
Item 3.1, the reorganization of the board. President, I would nominate Dr. James Matusik to fill the role of president for the remainder for the this next term.
Move nomination cease.
Second.
Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Mr. Choate.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Mr. Tillman.
Yes.
You bet.
Yeah. All right. Agenda item 3.2, I'd like to nominate Luke Lau as Vice President of the Hennessey School Board.
I'm sorry, we've actually already done that.
Oh, you've already done that?
Well, we did that in the.
We did that in the March meeting. So-
Can't get
But
rid
that
of
wasn't for this school year.
Yeah, that
wasn't?
But that wasn't for this term. That was for
That's right.
the
That
remainder
was for the
of
remainder of Joe's
of
term.
last month's term.
Okay.
Motion on the floor.
Second.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Move that nominations cease.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
I'll abstain.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Tillman?
Yes.
Agenda item 3.3, I'll make a motion to appoint Mr. Patrick Griffin as clerk of the Hennessey School Board.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
No.
Mr. Tillman?
Yes.
Agenda item 4.1, comments regarding agenda items. Is there anyone signed up on the speaker list? Would anyone like to sign a speaker list?
Is there a speaker list?
There was one back there.
Back on the table. Thank you, Mr. Booth. Okay. All right. Mrs. Seeger and Mrs. Tiffany Tillman, what agenda item would you like to specifically speak to?
I'm not sure yet. I'll see as it goes on.
Okay, all right, thank you. Mrs. Tillman, she just leave? She stepped out, okay, all right. Well, when we get there, she can speak to that. Okay. All right, thank you for signing the speaker list. No one agenda item 4.2, no one contacted me to speak. Anyone contact you? All right.
Sorry, I thought you were doing it first.
No. Agenda item 5, consent agenda. Does anyone have anything they would like to pull out of the consent agenda for discussion? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Tillman?
Yes.
Regular business, agenda item 6.1, discussion and possible board action regarding activity fund transfers. Are there any?
Yeah, we have 3.
Okay.
The first one is from baseball to athletics to purchase the leftover concession supplies for $171.02. Next is the elementary admin to early childhood. They started a new fund for early childhood sub-account. And then the last one is from athletics to cheer to give them the proceeds from the night they ran the concession.
Which was the last one?
Athletics to cheer for $1,008.
All right.
Kimberly, that should be in your class.
It should be junior class. Okay, so
Do we have
do you want to just take that one off?
From or to
To
To-
junior class.
athletics to junior class?
Okay,
That
can
was
we just,
for-
I'll just make the change on
Just
here.
change it, we can just approve it as amended.
As amended.
I move to approve the activity fund transfers with the amended item.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Aye.
Mr. Tillman?
Yes.
Agenda item 6.2, discussion and possible board action regarding changing Hennessey Lower Elementary from pre-K through 5th grades to pre-K through 4th grade, and Hennessey Upper Elementary from 6th and 8th grades to 5th through 8th grades, beginning with the 21-22 school year.
And that's a result of our changing back to where we have a middle school principal, and it, kind of what we were doing 2-3 years ago.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Aye.
Mr. Tillman?
Yes. Agenda item 6.3, motion, discussion, and vote to authorize or not to authorize the school district's attorney in consultation with the superintendent of schools to initiate legal action against the Oklahoma State Board of Education to address the equalization of funding as set forth in the board's resolution approved at the board's special meeting of March 25th, 2021.
This is a resolution supporting action by a consortium of schools against the state school board, the State Department of Education School Board, because they had made a settlement with the charter schools where the charter schools would have access to ad valorem monies. And that's not constitutional, so this is a resolution joining in that suit against the State Department of Education Board. There is some legislation that's being bandied about that may make this irrelevant, but right now, my recommendation would be we join this consortium of schools in this.
Would this also include the online school?
It does. Any charter school, brick and mortar or online, would have access to.
How do they expect to split up our
Well,
ad valorem money to?
Yeah, I think they would be basically on a per student basis, but then there's how you calculate that. It's going to be different from district to district. So there's a lot of reasons it's not a good thing. Why the state board decided to vote for it and approve it, I have no idea, but that's our response to that. And Phyllis is the one that guided us to.
And I've seen this on school district agendas this month. Kingfisher had it on theirs. I know Chisholm has already had it on theirs. So to our knowledge, is every school district that is putting it on their agenda following?
I haven't heard any numbers, but I
I've
would.
talked to numerous superintendents, haven't talked to anybody that is not.
Yeah, I think just about everybody's participating in that.
I mean, 20 plus that I've just talked to randomly or whatever through text or phone call, so.
I can't think of a reason a public school wouldn't. I mean, it's
Exactly.
going to affect everybody negatively.
Well, as opposed to before with charter schools, charters are available in all counties now. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, they originally were Tulsa and Oklahoma County.
That's been quite a while back.
Right, then it's been available, so it affects all counties, not just.
Right.
With Abbott being in the picture, yes, all
Yeah.
counties are affected.
And Phyllis will head that up, our attorney.
She is working with the other attorneys, because it's Center for Education Law and Rosenstein, RFR.
Rosenstein, Tillman,
Yeah, they're the others. The two biggest are probably leading the pack, but Phyllis is involved with this. She will be again when she gets internet. She's been without internet activity, so she's not doing much of anything right now.
Move to approve.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Tillman?
Yes. Agenda item 6.4, discussion and possible board action regarding quote from Oklahoma School Risk Management Trust for property, casualty, liability insurance for the district for policy year beginning July 1, 2021.
We're gonna have to just let this one lay. We did not get that quote.
Okay.
Did you? So we're gonna have to.
Do you want to table it or do you want to let it?
It's gonna have to be. It's gonna have to be tabled. Gonna have to be
So we
tabled.
did, yeah.
All right.
They'll have us on by, supposed to by they know everybody has to have it in by the second Monday of May, so their intent is to have everybody's quote by now.
Okay. Make a motion to table agenda item 6.4 until the May regularly scheduled board meeting.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Tillman?
Yes. Okay, agenda item 8, superintendent's report.
Did you skip 7?
Oh, I did. Let's just go to 8.
Okay.
You never have had anything good to say anyway.
There is no new business, so when we come back to it, there'll still be no new business. Financial, we actually had a little bit of positive news on the financial front. which I don't see right here, but our gross production collections were a tiny little bit, no, they still were a little bit less. I thought they were a little bit more.
They were more than last month, but
But
less
it's,
than last.
so I'm sorry, not as good as I'd hoped. 'Cause a year ago, April, we had a collection of 255,000. This month, we had 222,000. I think that's not a real reason to be real optimistic, because I think that's kind of a bit of an anomaly based on the conditions we had with the weather and all that really possibly affecting that. But overall, our collections are still down about $1.8 million. We will benefit from the money, the ESSER 2 money will help us. But again, it's one-time money. It's not something we should consider to be a continual, to continually prop up our budget. So we still have to be very diligent with our funds. Don't really have anything on facility or school programs. We did have a resignation. Angela Avila has resigned, and she will be taking a position elsewhere. And that's it.
All right.
Anybody have any questions I can answer?
Where are we at on the facilities from all the damage from the broken pipes? Where are we at?
Walking we've gotten to, we've got a content estimate back. We've got a structure back, and it was about $135,000 for the structure. The content, I'm still working with them, because I just took pictures and said didn't see anything wrong, and so we're gonna have to deal with that. But we're having a company will come out. We'll get a quote for the flooring, and that'll have to be bid. And so we're going to start that process tomorrow, or Wednesday, so day after tomorrow. There's lighting, stuff like that will be in first. The flooring will be the last thing. We can do a lot of those things without having to go to bid. The flooring will have to go to bid though.
Agenda item 7, new business. Got any?
No new business, no.
Good.
Still no new business.
Perfect. We'll go back to it.
Okay.
Agenda item 9, personnel. 9.1, proposed executive session to discuss the employment of certified personnel for the 21-22 school year.
Move to enter.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Tillman?
Yes. Okay, we're back in open session. We entered executive session at 7:41 to discuss the employment of certified personnel for the 21-22 school year. No votes were taken. All board members were present, including our guest, Dr. Woods, and Mr. Sternberger. Return to open session at 8:27. Okay. Agenda item 9.2. Discussion and possible board action regarding employment of certified staff for the 21-22 school year.
Okay, it's my recommendation that we rehire the list at the top of the page for the 21-22 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Tillman?
Yes. Agenda item 9.3, discussion, possible board action regarding employment of certified personnel on temporary contracts for the 21-22 school year.
I recommend that we rehire the certified personnel on temporary contracts for the 2022 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Tillman?
Yes. Agenda item 9.4, discussion and possible board action regarding the addendum to contract for Renee Curry for the 2021 school year.
My recommendation that we approve the addendum to Renee Curry's contract for 2020-2021.
Move to approve.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Cho?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Tillman?
Yes. Agenda item 9.5, discussion and possible board action regarding contracts for the early retirement incentive program.
We list them by name. We did it the first time.
No, and I think I forgot to bring them over, but I
So-
think you did something big one.
On 9/5, we opened the early retirement incentive back up. There were some teachers that expressed an interest in at least considering again. And we did have two other teachers, Debbie Laddick and Patty Jones, that participated in the early retirement incentive, and I would recommend approving those contracts.
I move to approve Patty Jones and Debbie Latta for early retirement incentive.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Cho?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Tillman?
Yes. Agenda item 9.6, discussion and possible board action regarding the employment of middle school principal for the 21-22 school year.
And I would like to take credit for that hiring, but let Mr. Sternberger maybe introduce the new middle school principal.
So I'm very excited to announce Mr. Ricardo Tarango. Recommend him to Mr. Woods to recommend to you guys. But Hennessey grad, I think most of you know him and know his family, and his wife works at Heritage Pharmacy. They just recently had a baby at 10 weeks old today. Is that right?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay. All right, so just what every mother wants to do is spend time away from their 10-week-old right now. So anyway, Mr. Tarango, do you have anything you'd like to?
No, just really, I'm excited. You know, was born in Enid but raised here, so part of my heart's in Enid, and a bigger piece of my heart's here in Hennessey. We got a lot of family here, and I'm excited to be part of the community and get started.
I would like to make a recommendation we employ Mr. Tarango as a middle school principal for the 21-22 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Cho?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Tillman?
Yes. Agenda item 10, adjourn.
I recommend we adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
And there are plenty of plate full of snacks for anyone that would like any.
Yes.
Mr. Tillman?
Yes. We got to sign.